We have flying events that are all aimed to sharpen the skills of these aviators and these college students much more above and beyond than what they're doing in the classroom.
Yeah, 6, Tower, hold trip running like trap, come on. Hold short of 18, that's 6.
What's really unique about this kind of competition, unlike other collegiate competitions, is we have one regional and then we have a national. And each of those regionals have had different flying conditions. So you don't know, it's not like a football team that every week they can go back and look at tapes of how another team's performing. You go into competition totally blind.
It comes to 6:45 wake-ups, getting to the airport at about 7:30, trying to figure out who's flying which heat, which plane we're behind, if the planes have fuel.
So the first one is a navigation event. It's a VFR cross country.
And so there's unlimited and traditional. Traditional is straight paper sectionals, do it the old school way. Unlimited is use whatever you want, everything online.
And the whole point of it is to use, pilotage and dead reckoning and really hone in on those skills.
So what we do is create 3 different routes. We're also looking at, in between those points at some distinguishing landmark feature and giving that to them and saying somewhere along your route you'll find these pictures, and then you tell us where those are.
The navigation event's a little more academic,
Yeah.
in terms of because you got to apply your planning and so forth. Well, with you, it's probably landings, right?
It is landings.
Yeah.
We have 2 landing competitions, one power off approach and landing and one short field approach and landing.
I think the power off 180 competition has made me a better pilot by just requiring me to plan my altitude and airspeed management further out. I have to really think ahead of the airplane. We have judges stationed at each point in the traffic pattern, looking for clean patterns, wind tracking on all the legs.
Coming into it, you'd think, especially with like the ACS, a lot of people think, oh, this target box is 300 feet wide. Most people here are private commercial pilots. Isn't that like ACS standards? But if you take into account some of the penalties and the fact that on short fields, you can't add power back in. So once you've taken that power out, if you add it back in, that's 200 points a penalty. So you're kind of just out of the running at that point.
Stuff that's going on over there that might be kind of like insider stuff that you really don't, the stuff you don't know unless you know because you've been here, and like little things and like painting the tires, for example. Like when I first got here, I'm like, couldn't these guys get better tires? And then you come to realize that they paint the tires so it's easier for the judges to see the tires start spinning when it hits the line and everything. And so I basically said it's the equivalent of like eye black or in football.
I believe at regionals, our best event was message drop, which is our favorite event. So that is always fun to be able to drop stuff out of the planes.
That competition, pretty much, you have one pilot flying and one pilot dropping. You will take off, you'll fly in the pattern, you'll overfly the field at a pretty low altitude. Pilot flying will guide the airplane laterally over the 2 targets that you have to drop on, and then the dropper will kind of give him guidance on which side to go so you're lined up with the buckets.
Some teams wear like costumes and stuff. It's kind of like Friday, the fun day, the end of competition, where the teams just come out, have fun, but also take it seriously because you do get points at competition.
Every team kind of has a different way of doing it. Some people will like to stick their whole head out the window and they'll take their headset off and there's gonna have like air blowing on their face and everything. I know Cody likes to go up with goggles, get a better view.
There's a lot of dumb things that happen on message drop, but it's a fun event. One of our guys during message drop, he took his headset off and stuck his head out the window because he was trying to see the target, and these came flying off his face and he dropped these instead of the actual message drop thing.
Grayson, have you ever hit anybody's car with a message drop container?
Oh yeah, I have hit a car with a message drop container.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so.
We have one guy who is wearing goggles from like World War II, like the fighter pilot goggles, and he's gonna stick out and use those.
One of our team members, she is really good at it, and she does have goggles like that Snoopy pretty much wears.
But we also had one of our competitors wearing a cheese head, Drew Robinson, and that was kind of just to celebrate being up here in Oshkosh.
The message drop event, sponsored by Dynamic Aviation, and presenting this evening is going to be Megan Danis and Parker Nichols, if you would please come forward.